Okay, I'm going to give you a crash course on the fundamentals of SMMA, the things where if you don't do them, you are completely screwed. If you've been in the agency game for less than 2 years or you haven't at least hit 50K per month without having to chase leads all the time, I can pretty much guarantee you that your fundamentals are out of check and it's making your life way more challenging than it needs to be. Building a business is hard, but it should not feel impossible. Like, I scaled the consistent 60K plus months before learning this, and man, I wish I learned it sooner because I was constantly burning out. Now life is just so much easier. Referrals come in, I can charge literally 10 times as much money. Scaling's just not as hard as it used to be. So I'm going to help you build a massive, long-lasting, low-maintenance agency just with one video here. So what even are fundamentals? It's a valid question. The Oxford Languages Dictionary definition of fundamentals: a central or primary rule or principle on which something is based, right? The core components of something, basically. So one way to look at fundamentals is foundations of a building. If you don't know how a building is built, first you need to lay a foundation, which is just a solid, massive slab of concrete. And you need big, strong foundations in order to build a big building that is not going to fall down. Think about it, you've probably seen a shed where there's some concrete underneath it. It's just a little concrete slab just to keep the shed flat and everything like that. Imagine trying to build a house on that. Nothing's going to happen. The house is going to sink into the dirt. You're completely screwed. And this goes, if you want to build a skyscraper, think about the size of the foundation you need to build, right? The amount of concrete involved, the amount of resources, the amount of time involved just to build that foundation so that the building can be put on top, right? So fundamentals are these central or primary rules or principles on which building an SMMA the right way is based. So primary rules or principles of building an SMMA the right way. That's what fundamentals are. Now, moving into what some of the main fundamentals are. There are three categories: your skill sets, your mindsets, and then your networks. The first category being your skill sets. I'll actually push this back a little bit. On the mindset side, here are some pretty common ones. There's a poor mindset or a bad mindset. I want to get rich quick. It's just not how it works. If you get rich quick, you're lucky. You get your 15 minutes of fame, you totally tank, right? Look at like GameStop stock, perfect example. Versus having a mindset of, why would becoming a multi-millionaire be easy? Look at how many people are multimillionaires. Why would that be easy with the amount of people there are in the world? Right? Or the examples of having a growth mindset for a fixed mindset. Maybe you've heard of this before. Having a growth mindset is understanding that there are skills that you need to develop. You need to grow as an individual to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve, versus having a fixed mindset of, oh, I'm just going to stay exactly how I am, keep things how they are, and that's just how it is. Everything is just how it is. We can't improve, we can't grow. If you don't have a growth mindset, if you have a fixed mindset, you're toast. You're screwed from the start. You literally can't get better at anything. But like, a huge component of building an agency is just building the right skills. A huge component, and the right mindsets. If you think about this, if you don't have a growth mindset about mindset, meaning if you don't have a growth mindset that is, I can develop and improve my mindset, then you're screwed. Your mindset becomes bottlenecked, right? So it's very interesting how this stuff can work. The idea of compounding interest. There's compounding interest with money, where you put $100,000 in the S&P 500, it goes up by 8%, 10% per year for 50 years, and you end up with millions of dollars, right? A lot of us have heard of that stuff. But there's compounding interest in skill sets. And this is just the way you're looking at your skill sets. So the more time you spend doing cold email, the better you will get, but the results will be exponential as a result. Because what also happens is, the better you get at cold email, the more leads you have, the more appointments you have to book. So then you get better at appointment setting. Then you have more sales calls to take. You get better at sales calls and offers and so on and so forth. And then therefore you have more clients. And then all of a sudden, look at what you've built out of just committing yourself to cold email for an extended period of time. Right? Another thing is having a student mindset versus thinking you know it all. If you have a mindset of, oh, this guy's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, there's nothing I can learn from him. It's like, if you're at 4K per month in your agency or like $700 per month in your agency, you just have no right to have a mindset like that. And it's holding you back straight up. So you need to really humble yourself in these situations. And when things get hard, a mindset that you can have is, well, what am I going to do? Quit? It's helpful if you don't have fallbacks. And I'm not saying set yourself up so that you don't have fallbacks. As for a lot of us, fallbacks can be becoming a sales rep at a company and stuff like that if our agencies don't work out because we're developing these skills. But having this mindset has just done so many amazing things for me. Things get really hard. I'm like, what am I going to do? Quit? Like, or I don't want to have this conversation with this person. Like maybe this client's unhappy. I don't want to have this conversation. Like, what am I going to do? Not have the conversation? Like, do I want to get better? Or do I want to stay where I am? That is an amazing lens to look through your decisions with. Skill sets. Picking the best markets is a huge skill set because if you don't pick the right market, you're not going to get client results. This is like probably the core fundamental of all of SMMA is just picking the best market in the first place because you don't have to be that good at generating leads. If you pick the right market, like your clients will make you look like a god. And then like life is easy. So picking the best markets is huge, followed by creating the best service. These are the most fundamental skills. The most fundamental skill sets, like bar none. Building offers is another one, or copywriting, sales, right? Email deliverability, hiring VAs, managing people. There are more than just these, but these are some of like the main core ones, right? Building a good offer that people want, copywriting, selling, providing a good service, and picking a good market. Those are going to cover 95% of getting you in the right position to even have the opportunity to build the rest of the skills like managing people. Because if you don't have these in check, or maybe you only have a few, you don't need every single one in check, but you'll be able to tell if you don't. And if things are harder than they probably should be right now, it's because of one of these things, I can almost guarantee you. But again, these will cover the vast majority of your cases and give you the resources, the money to hire somebody to learn to manage, right? That's what I'm saying. And then finally here, on this second point of what are the main fundamentals, your networks. You've probably heard 600,000 times at this point, your network is your net worth, right? The people who you surround yourself with impact your own personal position. I wish that earlier on I got to know agency owners because I would have grown so much faster. And Mr. Beast says this in actually a really nice, a really clean way, which is, think about it. You work alone for 12 months. You make a mistake once a month, right? Okay, well, you get to, he didn't say it exactly in these words, but he said the exact same thing. Over 12 months, you've made 12 mistakes and learned 12 lessons. Let's say it's you plus 3 people. So now there are 4 people, everybody makes 1 mistake per month. Well, now you're 4 mistakes per month, or 1 per week was the example he was giving you, right? Well, over the course of a year, that's 48 mistakes you're learning from directly from the source so that you can avoid 36 additional mistakes that you could have possibly made. And you're just moving so much faster, so much more rapidly to, what works, right? Agency friends also just make life less lonely, straight up. Starting out can be a very, very lonely experience, and not having people who are like-minded around you, not having people who are where you're at or who are ahead of you, or in close proximity to where you're at. Let's say you're at $5,000 a month. Anybody from 2 to 10K per month, having agency friends in that range, even 20K per month, like these things can really, really help you out and just make life so much less lonely. So that's a really key thing that can help you a lot. So your network can help you move so much faster and just get to the money quicker. They can make life much less lonely. But then also what you want to do is have access to people who are ahead of you. So let's say you have a friend who's doing 35K per month. It's like, do whatever you can to learn from that person, even if it means paying them, right? Like, by all means, pay one of your friends who's ahead of you significantly, and there's actually a reason for you to pay them and a reasonable rate and whatever. A lot of the time, if they're your actual friends, they'll just be like, oh no, I'll just help you out. Like, why would I charge you, right? But having access to people like this, holy, the amount of time, energy, heartache that you will be saved is just unbelievable. Now, moving into how do I master the fundamentals, right? This is really key. The short answer is practice, but I'll give you more than just that, because that's a pretty kind of lame answer. Number one, you can either learn through experience, through being taught by others, or both. And number two, you can actually listen to people who are ahead of you and avoid their mistakes. This may sound like what I just said, but it's not. So the first one, you can either learn through experience, through being taught by others, or both. Both is the fast path, straight up. And in consistency, not giving up, sticking to the same one or two things and making iterations rather than being shiny objected to the max and, oh, now I'm a growth operator and now I'm doing this and now I'm doing that. It's like if you switch things every 3 months, you're going nowhere. So both is the fast path. But again, if you have a friend who's ahead of you, learn from them, pay them if you have to, because this will just save you so much time, like I said. And then on the other side, actually listening to people who are ahead of you and avoiding their mistakes. What I'm saying is, it's easy to watch a YouTube video like this one, but almost nobody executes on these things fully. Like, seriously, you'll listen to this and be like, oh, that sounds really good. Like, there's so much value, blah, blah, blah. And then what are you going to do though? So if you watch YouTube videos in general, a suggestion I can give you is, for starters, handwrite notes while you're watching them, because that helps you retain information better. But two, give yourself an action item at the end of a video. Actually prompt yourself, keep a sheet with you, because you're not watching these videos for entertainment. You're watching these videos to help you grow your agency, right? So if you like write down, have a prompt or write down a question or have a doc on your computer, like a Notion doc or something, whatever. But answer yourself at the end of each video, what can I implement in my agency from this right now? And then stop everything and do it. If there's nothing, cool, on to the next video, right? But also just, you really, really need to humble yourself. If you expect things to happen overnight and this, you're just gonna be set up for trouble. And again, you have one $8,000 month. It's like, you're not that cool, man. Like, keep it together, because you are just getting started, and odds are you're going to have a $0 month in the near future, because that's just how it works. Generally speaking, unless you're like quadrupling your outreach and whatever, right? But odds are you're going to fluctuate, because that's just how it tends to go. If you have a tendency to be stubborn as well, do your best to stop and control that. I say this from personal experience. Stubbornness, and that's why I say this underneath the point of actually listen to people who are ahead of you and avoid their mistakes. I made a mistake of not mastering the fundamentals, but starting out, I had stubbornness. Oh, I don't need to worry about that, or I got that under control, or oh no, I don't think that makes sense. It's like, stop and think about it. Really stop and think about it, because there's a reason I'm giving you this information. I'm trying to help. That's really it. Beginner to pro SMA crash course on the fundamentals. If you want to work closer with me personally, you can book a sales call in the description. It's not a free consult. It is a sales call, not a free consult. You can book a call there with me to work with me more closely. I have a private scaling group. You can, get closer with people, build your network, learn from people's mistakes, all the stuff that I'm talking about here, master the fundamentals, etc. Be less lonely, all that kind of stuff. If you want to do that, again, you can book a call with me personally, actually, in the description. Otherwise, you can click whatever video is popping up on screen for you now, and I'll see you there.